Hi, hello. I want to go live real quick because I got a message and I want to talk about it. So I'm just going to queue up everything. I want to send my text out to my text fam. If you were part of the text fam, um, you get text when I go live, when I have special promos. And so I'm sending that text real quick. But this is a topic. Oh my God, computer. A topic I want to talk about because I just got these message. I get a few of these messages often, and I want to address this. And hopefully, it would continue to help people. And also, I have some announcements about some free trainings. All right, fresh live free trainings that are upcoming that hopefully you'd want to be a part of. I'm gonna go ahead and queue up. Um, oh gosh. I don't know. I like to let them know when I go live right at the time I go live. There we go. Okay, so if you are watching in the Facebook group or on YouTube, you'll be able to see some visuals I'm going to share with you. Today we are going to talk about some ways to be cautious of if you are paying anyone to start your locks. Hey, and these oh wait, that's not what I wanted to share. Facebook user, hey, I okay, let me go ahead and send this to the text fam. Stay tuned because I want y'all to, if you want to comment, you want to share your feedback about this, if you want to see visuals on Instagram, you could come over to the Facebook group or YouTube. And here we go. Send. All right. So every so often I get messages. So those of you who know I have a webinar, and so a free webinar that plays. That's an automated webinar, and I'll sometimes do live ones. Which at the end, wait, because I'm going to share with you the dates for the upcoming live trainings. We have 2 coming up, but what I'm finding out more and more, what I've been seeing, and not really speaking directly on, I guess to bite the tongue or whatever, but it's just causing a lot of people grief, and I want to make sure that I say this on a pro level. Okay, disclaimer, I'm talking about professional level. If you're paying someone money, that I want you to be very cautious of paying someone money to start your hair with just twist, right? MICROLOCS, not regular locks, not traditional size locks, not large locks, micro size that you intend to keep for an indefinite amount of time, right? Not something in a temporary that you're going to take out, but something that you plan to keep. And many reasons why I go into depth in other lives. But one thing that I want to say, so in this program, we have now enrolled about 110 people have gone through the program or are currently in the program, have invested in taking a training that is going to give them a foundation on creating strong, resilient microlocks that are with the proven system and method, right? So these are people that some, with the exception of a few scholarship winners, most people have invested. When I talk about making an investment into your skills, right? This is what I'm talking about all the time. Having this style or adding this on as a pro service for a business that you are trying to start, sustain, or grow, right? You realize that any real investment that's going to give you a return takes an investment of your own time or your own money or your own energy or resources. It doesn't have to be all 4, it could be 1, but it's going to be an investment of something. And the more investment that I feel people put in to properly growing and creating a foundation, I feel that return is just greater. So what people have been, with some feedback I've been getting, and people are becoming irate that maybe they're not so in, to like watching DIY, figuring out all these different nuances of what people are calling microlocks. So they're like trusting that they go to a pro and that they get something, but then they're finding out that they're experiencing things, or that things aren't being, it's just not going the way that they're intending for it to go. And so people are becoming upset because they've invested a lot of money. And that is what I want to avoid. Okay, so I always disclaim I'm speaking on a pro level when you're taking a lot of money and time to do these services. I'm not talking about someone who's, doing their own hair, and because I was that person. Was always in my hair since I was young. So I always liked to have that freedom to do what I wanted. But when it comes to what I put my money down, it was a whole different ball game, especially the amount of money at that time. So that I wanted to make sure that I always talk about these 4 major areas of investment. And I feel like what people invest in, they value, so if I were to just get, y'all, earlier I was just thinking about all these different things that I've experienced when people tell me, I'm about to get an install, or they got one and they're like, we're looking at the progress. And what I found to be red flags for people who, some people are having these experiences with, where they were saying they were pros, but they were resistant to, or showed some type of resistance to getting established information. Like, it was very odd. So even free information, I don't know, let me know in the comments if you come across that. I know a few of you have shared that the pros, the people who have been certified to have their businesses, that took our foundational training, and you have maybe come across people interested or whatever, or you saw someone could probably use a little more skill, and so you shared and they resisted. And you're like, I don't get it, but like I said, there are people with afros and just a small root, and they're expecting it to look like this. It's not a magic wand. That there's a lot of skill and technique and actually training of the hair to get it to be strong, to get it to have the refinement. You've experienced that. And so, sometimes you just let it be. But there's people that there's collateral damage in that. So it's not like there's just people that are just, doing what they choose. There's clients, there's women, men, people who've invested money into getting something that are the collateral damage. And that's the part I will always and forever advocate for. I guess that's the social worker in me advocating for is the people who, need a voice, to hold other people accountable when they are doing something intentionally. You're knowing that there's a point where I think in the beginning of trying to have a little like home salon, I would be like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And I remember one day I was just like, you know what? Don't play with people's hair. Like, it just hit me. Like, if you don't know how to do that, don't do it. Like, and I was trying to dabble in color or cutting, and those can really mess people's hair up. And so I was like, I'm not trained for that. That's not my skill. That's not my strength. And so, I was like, let me focus on and invest in getting my skills up to a certain level. And that's I feel is responsible. I admire, I commend all the people. The last tally, we had 113 through the time that the program's been open in 8 countries. And the majority of the U.S., we are in probably 3/4 of the states of the U.S. that people have enrolled in the training, got through in the training. So I see that there are people, and a lot of people write, I want to get go through a program that is credible and make sure I get my skills to a certain point before I start taking money. And that's right there. I already know that they're going to be successful because they have already laid the foundation. You don't build a house. Think of the 3 little pigs. You don't build a house with sticks. You don't build a house with hay and think that you're going to get mansions. You're going to get long-lasting, beautiful results with foundations that you may have pulled off YouTube or social media or saw really great before pictures. And I know it's not popular what I'm saying. I get it. I always try to be nice, but I just can't hold it in when I get these messages. And so I just challenge people, I just tell people who are doing this, um, like first, like what's the resistance? And you actually become more prosperous the more that you invest, whether it's your money, time, energy, or resources. It doesn't just have to be about money, paying money, but investing and making sure that you get a solid foundation to add to something that you really truly want to build. Um, so there are people running around trying to fix and correct your work, trying to fix and help these clients. Maybe the results of what they maybe you have people that are fine with it, but I'm not going to be a person that advocates for that. I'm a person that advocates for that. So I want to say again, be cautious, because there are people that have invested a lot of time and money to learn a technique that is proven. And with our particular technique, I've refined it down more so that it spans 99.9% of all the hair textures you're going to encounter. That I've encountered over hundreds of women, men, women, different densities, different issues. And so those things have been worked through so that we get the best results. If someone is resistant to that, someone hasn't done thorough research, or you're just following trends. What's popular isn't always right per se for the level and quality that people so the quote I always like is, what's popular is not always right. I throw away popularity because I tend to find things that are sometimes really valuable or substance or great information or whatever. It doesn't always look like it's the popular thing. It doesn't always I don't always just jump on a bandwagon. I was never like that. I always want to see the substance of something, make sure that is lasting, that's not a fad or a trend, but that is something that's going to give solid, consistent results. So I really want people to be discerning and not just jump on it. But if there's a pro per se that doesn't seem to have a solid footing, kind of is swayed, doesn't seem to have a clear definition of what they're doing, can't really clearly articulate like what exactly their philosophy is around hair locking, this technique or their services, the whole, like, it's just not solid enough. So it changes their offerings, their strengths. It kind of doesn't seem to be something that you can say. For instance, people can say, I do what clients ask me, but not everything that's being asked for is going to get the result that's intended. That's where education comes in play. That's where expertise comes in play. I can go and ask for a certain type of surgery or BBL, whatever, and they can say, you can't get it, honey, because, these other factors are in play, or the result that you desire, so that's when they do the consultation. That's when we do the assessment. That's when we know our limits before somebody even sits in our chair, what we're going to do. Always know that. I know there's certain things that I already know, and I articulate that clearly so nobody's time is wasted. And then we even further with the pros. There's certain way that I advise pros to do their service so that they're not becoming the cleanup person, or so that they're not having they're having consistency in their work with clients that are consistent, right? That's the goal, so that the results are consistently high quality. So to the woman who, she may or may not, I don't know if you're on these platforms, or the people who messaged about finding out these things after and starting to see what I mean, or I'm sorry that you have to experience that, but and I hope that I try, me or anyone else who has the knowledge can help support you through that, so you can get what you want, because you don't want to play with a Black woman's hair, is what I always say. We don't want to play games. And when I get on the whole like psychology of it, you can do more damage than you think. It's not always just about, dang, it's not, right. They're going to take it down. They're going to go about their life. You could actually have a devastating result on someone. So I'm going to calm down, because I get a little passionate about this. But I do want y'all to save these dates, because we have to go into some free training. I've always been, remember when I used to do, I don't know who's been following me way back from like 2020, Pre-COVID, like before COVID, we would do free 3-day trainings, free 3-day trainings. I'm about to do that again because we already know May 1st, we're about to have a slew of certified pros coming out of this, our certification group that we're doing now. So I want to just impart some more. Spring is coming. Spring is here. Summer is coming. This is, I think, a lot of abundance and prosperity for people who are laying the foundation right and correct and want it. So if I can give free info to help support you, that's something that I want to do. At least, even if someone's not trying to become a pro, you just want to know some information that's been tried, tested, and true. I mean, you don't have to, who am I? But, at the front of MICROLOCS, the pioneer, I had to start saying that because, like I said, going through my information and going through all this just the portfolio of things that the passion I have for this. And I tell people this passion is beyond, because I'm a licensed social worker. I've always been a social worker who has always been interested in hair and done hair. I had a hair business when I started, before I even started doing small locks and then coining it MICROLOCS. And I had I did twists, and I did 2-strand twist. That's what the main service is what I did. It's so ironic that I'm now seeing it being done to lay a foundation for locks this size. And that's something I used to always do my hair, and it never would have been viable, sustainable for this style, for this long, and the way that I want it to look. So, I just have that passion and knowledge I want to share. So I want to share with you really quickly. Let me go to the next. So I always talk about certification, but this is just any certification program should be able to give these points, but I just share this real quick. Let me just take my face off of here. There's always feel like hold on, y'all. Okay, certification is important because it ensures that standards are met. It increases consistency in the results. There's a higher level of quality of work, demonstration of knowledge, connections to more opportunities. And out of the first official MICROLOCS certification program in Brooklyn, New York in 2009 was the first cohort. Those standards have been proven, tested by, from that point, dozens, but now we have hundreds of people that are in the program, have more than half certified, and in multiple countries. And so these work results are there. And I just want to emphasize why I believe certification is important. But I'll skip over this because I want to actually take this off, y'all. Sorry. Let y'all know about some free trainings. So the first on April 20th, this is going to be the free live webinar. So many people know about the webinar that I have currently. So we're going to be adding on to that webinar, going over the 4-step framework, going over some tips, but I'm adding more information. So you're going to look out for that. If you're on the email list, you'll get the email. If you're in a Facebook group, if you're not on the email list, join the email list. A lot of information is about to come down the pipeline if you're interested in it. And then there's going to be a free 3-day training challenge. So bringing back the challenges. We had actually, I think we did a challenge this year already. But you'll get more information about that free 3-day training challenge. And again, these are some free trainings I want to put out there. Information I think is powerful for the client, for a person that's in the chair or behind the chair, right? And it's free. So if you like that and you're in our network, stay tuned for that. Mark your calendars. So you have April 20th, May 18th, and 20th. Okay. So I'm going to end you IG because I never, I'm about to go live, the certification only group for our May 1st. So those of you who are in the full training and the certification only, which it's 2 separate times. We're going to start shortly at 7 p.m. and then we're going to start at 8 p.m. for the certification only. All right, so make sure you have your homework. We're about to have a whole bunch of highly qualified certified pros to counteract some of this. When you're not just running and chasing any dollar, but you're actually creating more abundance and prosperity for yourself, but you are giving yourself a good opportunity for a great foundation. You're giving yourself a chance, an opportunity to really excel, and those whose hair you do. Give them the best results. That integrity that I talk about all the time, listen, that's an individual choice, but I feel, I don't know, it will absolutely catch up to you if you are constantly producing work that is problematic or it just doesn't look as refined or optimal, or has issues that you have to keep fixing or somebody has to fix, because it looked great for the first 3 months until it started to lock up inconsistently because it was in a two-strand twist pattern, very small, and it got puffy in some areas. It's going to swell out crazy. Because if you remember any of the previous demos I've done where I showed you 3 techniques of an install, the one that swells out the most, the one that is the weakest and has the weakest foundation and pattern, is a twist for starting locks at this size. Okay, so then there's I did braids and then I did a interwoven pattern. And even with knowing interlocking, there are still specific ways and techniques that you can strengthen within that technique. So it's not just a one size fits all. I'll just learn interlocking. And you hear people talking about different patterns and rotations, but what do those patterns and rotations really mean? Why were there so many? Birthed out of the sister lock training system, there were specific reasons for that. And so if you understand what the specific reasons were for that, and then I speak on how that has actually looked in the real world, down the line, how that affected the consistency of the entire lock as I stepped into the bulk of my career in the beginning, doing repair work, and ultimately finding ways, creating ways to reattach and then extend and then do advanced repair and refinement, because it was needed, because what I talk about with those different rotations and patterns. And that's a very fundamental, it's a knowledge that's very important to know. And it's important to have an understanding of why it was done and have an understanding of why it could be problematic. It doesn't always, nothing is always ever. There's always going to be somebody that says, oh, well, I don't have that. But then a skilled trained pro, first of all, if you would be in our chair, we could see things. And so sometimes people will say that, but our level of quality might be different. But also, we also might have encountered a lot of problems, and we're speaking from experience, right? So again, understanding my computer, why connections keep acting up, so that's why I paused. Understanding the differences in that is fundamental. So someone just, that's why from the very basic, I can tell the level of knowledge and skill when someone is willing and ready to do that and take that much money to do that. I already know that either they found the information wasn't given to them from a high quality source, or they did not get the information and they're going off of just aesthetics of what they've seen install. Beautiful photos look like that. That's why I say people can say, well, we can start any way we want to, call it any way we want. Yeah, but in the meantime, I see a mini twist style looks beautiful. I don't necessarily see locks until your hair starts to lock, no matter what. But when you start with a foundation that's been used for decades to create that cylindrical, tiny lock, for it to lock the way that is going to be consistent, even there is a pattern, there is a foundation for that. And so it just makes, I think it also makes a lot of people who've invested, pros who've invested in learning, I don't know if it makes them feel that way, but I think that I would say it's not as easy as just doing a twist. Like I didn't pay X amount of money to just um, do a twist until you tell me how to part it, how to part the foundation out. And also there's a reason why the grid is parted the way it is. There's a reason. So there's a reason for everything that I promote and teach, ultimately teach. There's a reason for that. Doesn't mean that that's the only way anybody can do anything, but there's a reason that if you're talking about on this size, on this scale, for what you want your styling options to be, for what you want your flexibility and versatility to be, because there's a reason why you want to go this small. This small. If you want to go medium or big, then that's that can be a different ball game, because you're dealing with a little bit of a stronger base and found hopefully a stronger base, and you have more options on what you can do, because it doesn't need. The smaller you go, the more you will need to pay attention to, because you're dealing with less. So the less that you're dealing with is going to have to be fortified. It's going to have to be solid. Otherwise, it could be problematic. So I can't really see comments shown because my computer, it just does this weird thing when now I can't really scroll. I can't scroll up to see certain things, and it kind of freezes me. I can see the screen, but I can't see comments for some reason. And I can't. So if you want to try to put a comment, if you hear what I'm saying, I can't see who's watching. Nobody could be watching. I could be talking to myself, and that's okay, because I get nervous sometimes thinking about who's on the other end. I'm going to be honest. I was always like that. A lot of people have public speaking things, and even though I'm virtual, I can feel energy. I can really feel energy. So when I know I'm being watched, sometimes I'll censor. And I keep telling myself I'm gonna speak more real, but I'm gonna make sure that it's not like offensive, that I'm not disrespecting anyone. But I think truth and disrespect are two different things. So, but I don't want any, gosh, y'all, all these notifications. We get back to banner, because I want to take this off, and I want y'all to know how to get into, if you are watching from YouTube, how to get into the Facebook group. I want y'all to know that to save the dates for April 20th for the free live webinar. So again, if you've watched one of my webinars already, this one's live. Those are automated. I'll be honest. It was done live, and then it's turned into an automated one, because it's me and I can't be everywhere, but I want people to be able to take the information, but your interactions are live. If you ever noticed when you were commenting on the previous webinar, that's not live, that you do get a response, usually in real time right away, because it's interaction is live. But this will be truly live, right? So we're going to go over framework, why it's that way. I always talk about mistakes, but I can also add in additional tips. And then if you have questions and feedback, we put that in there. And also there's opportunity for to get the official certification in our program if you're interested. But I always try to jam that with some valuable information. And that's usually a 90-minute webinar. But when we do, okay, my computer's acting up. The 3-day training, that one is going to have a lot more. That one's going to be good. So anyone who's ever taken the 5-day bootcamp challenge or the previous 3-day trainings, similar to that, but there's going to be more info. Absolutely more info. I'm getting more and more real and honest in what I say. I've been saying a lot of the information for a very long time. I've seen a lot of people thrive with my information. I see a lot of people regurgitate information, but I also, I want to make sure that you get more, and it's more real, and it's more needed, because as things continuously become put into my vision, and people are coming to me with information or questions, I feel like I need to add more info. And some people are appreciative, and I'm appreciative that they're appreciative. They get the information right in time. I would have loved this information when I was on my start. There wasn't all of the. I think there's not all information is helpful. I think sometimes it's just a lot of a lot. So, and there's a lot of misinformation or things that some of my clients would say, it's just, I see information is just wrong. It's just like, I want to say so much because they've gone through the install experience with me. They've gone through a year, 2 years, 3 or 4 years. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell y'all too. So if y'all stick around, if y'all leave, cool. There are milestones that I have shared, right? Y'all remember these milestones I share? They're not going to apply to two-strand twist the same way, or the braids the same way. These are hair locker milestones from 15 years of experience starting in the methods that I teach you, that I talk about for free, that I talk about in the paid trainings. They're not applicable in the same way with two-strand twists. Okay, and not necessarily braids either. So I mean, you can't see it, but I have a whole on YouTube. You can check out. Yeah, let me show y'all. The YouTube page is Jessica Abner Marshall or MICROLOCS Mastery. Both of those have the same videos. It's just more of a following on my personal page. But there's a video on there for, what's the name of it? I cannot remember. Block refinement. Shoot. Fine. I could figure out the name of it, but I'll try to link it. And so I'll go through the milestones more in depth. There's another video about trusting the process. I go over the milestones, but this one shares the milestones. It shares the milestones more in depth. Again, this is all my original information from my experience. Created these milestones. So through the 15 years, there's a lot of information and things that I've drafted, that I've created before I even got on live again, because I kind of jumped off of YouTube and all those things to take care of my child and to fight this custody battle and to deal with my postpartum depression, etc. So but I had always been talking and teaching, whether it was in person, whether it was the team that I had in Brooklyn, New York, was the new clients that I was starting. And so this information is compiled over a decade and a half of information from experiences. So I put them into these handouts, into these offerings for free. But those who are in the program are actually doing I very rarely take an install these days. I do have an install this weekend, and I will share that journey. She's agreed. She's referred from another very highly respected optician in Brooklyn, New York. And so I'm excited to share these things and to go live if you're in the program, to show you in real time as we do this install, as we go through this process with her. She's agreed. So I'm really excited about that. That is how I feel these journeys should be. Now, and she also was trusting. The referrals are great. That's why I hope that I can replicate somehow with the referral network we have. Referrals are great because people trust more when they would trust you or trust the referral source. And they're like, okay, well, I don't. And then it's such an easier thing. So they're like, well, if Wendy referred, her to me, I'm already good. Like, because I trust, so-and-so's judgment. So they come in much more respectful of you and what you do. And so hopefully with the certification program, I try to replicate that. I don't have just random people who are going to do these kind of installs or do these things and people be pissed. And you're gonna have a high endorsement and a whole bunch of other people that can endorse because they took the training with you, or they networked with you, or they know you, and you can become referrals for each other, and it just helps the whole unity and abundance for everyone. So when you can have this like really strong endorsement. So I say all that to say, beware if you have a resistant, negative, or I know it all, but I don't have a whole lot of experience. I've seen it on YouTube kind of thing, or oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm this and that. But what's your portfolio for this? Because even in the lock realm, it's highly respected locticians I respect that do not, they'll admit that I don't have skill in the small ones. That's not my thing. But they can throw down and take care of your hair so well in the traditional, right? And vice versa. People skilled in this that do not necessarily have a skill in that, because they are almost like two different worlds. So yeah, these dogs are barking. I'm gonna get ready for our 7 o'clock certification, y'all. So they had a lot of homework. If you are in the group, you are in the full training or the certification only, I hope that you did your homework. I hope you did your homework. I remember those days I would have to check in, go to my next class, and I'll be up all night trying to make sure I made that. Listen, this is the only way you're going to get to the May 1st deadline is if you meet these markers and these milestones. Remember your homework. Okay. And those who are in the free group or connect on the other platforms, I hope that you can get in the free group and get this information. I appreciate you watching. I don't know if you commented. I can't see anything. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. If you're watching a replay, let me know you're watching a replay. And if this has made you upset, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I just can't bite my tongue anymore. How much longer can you sit around and just keep having inboxes? Like, y'all don't know what on the other end is. I'm list 8,000. I'm a waiting list 8. We have a lot of people on the back end that communicate constantly about their experiences, and I don't always share it. But after a while, you start to get tired, especially if you're a person. And I'm a therapist already. I'm always trying to help solve and figure out as a social worker. But I mean, I just get tired of, if I don't say anything, I'm not. That is actually irresponsible of me, especially promoting and saying the things that I say. Be irresponsible of me not to hold people accountable, and also to commend the people that do great work and that do invest and that do value that. You will continue to be rewarded with the same energy returned back to you that you put in and invested. But for those who are, just always say, just be perceptive, think of the red flags, and go with your gut. Go with your gut. All right, everyone, have a great Monday. Bye.